couple of years ago. I was flying my paramotor. I took off from a field and gained maybe like 2,000-3,000 feet elevation. And on my paramotor, I have electric start, so I can shut it off. I can turn the engine off and paraglide up in the air through the clouds, and then restart the engine because I have electric start with a battery. Restart the engine and paramotor back to the airport or the field that I took off from. So what happened? I shut the engine off and I'm just making circles, paragliding down. And the place where I was paramotoring, it was farmers' fields with cows and on the border of national forest. So the rest of it was forest. So I shut the engine off, paramotor, in like 15-20 minutes. And now I know it's getting dark. I need to restart the engine to fly back to the field that I took off from. And when I go to restart the engine, it cranks, but it doesn't start. I try to choke it, and I crank it, and it doesn't start. And I know I have a small battery, and then I try to start it again, and it doesn't start. And I can see that the battery is getting low because it cranks slower and slower. And I start praying. I was like, I know God is gonna help me. I know my paramotor is gonna start, and I'm gonna paraglide back to the field that I took off from, and everything's gonna be fine. And as I'm praying, I try to start it, and it still doesn't start. And it's pretty much national forest right below me, and I'm getting lower and lower. And I had three options. I either have to land on the road, but the road is narrow, so my paramotor the glider is really wide, and I'm gonna catch the edges on the trees, and I can't land on the road. Or I have to land into somebody's backyard, and I can't do that either because there's power lines going to people's homes and fences and trees in the field. And I can't make it back to the field where I took off from, and I can't even make it back to the farmer's field where the cows are at. And at this point, I know my only option is to land straight into the forest. And that forest was, the trees were probably like 50, 60 feet tall, and it was thick. Like there's no in between the trees where I can land. I have to land into the trees. So my prayer didn't work, and by this time I know I have to land into the trees. Like I'm landing into the trees, and I decided instead of landing between two trees and hanging between the trees, I decided I'm gonna hit one tree, the tallest tree that I can see. I'm gonna hit it with the left side of my wing, and I'm gonna brake with the left side and wrap around that tree. That's exactly what I did. I picked the tallest tree. I hit it with my left side of the wing, and I just like circled around it. And I came face to face with the tree trunk pretty quickly. And praise God, none of the branches hit me or poked through me. But now I was in a situation with a paramotor and myself hanging from a 65-foot tree. The moral of the story is, in life, you can have everything perfect. You can have your electric start, you can have your battery fully charged, you can have everything perfect, and you do the best you can to work with what you got, but it still doesn't work. You made the best decision in the moment, and it still did not work out as you wanted it to work out. That's called, some people call it a failure, other people call it a mistake. But the point of mistakes or failures is that every time you fall and every time you do something and it doesn't work, you have to learn. If you learn, you can move on. There's a great book that I read many years ago. It's called Failing Forward. And that book has taught me that every time I do something, every time I fall, that lesson has to push me forward in life. Every time I make an investment and it doesn't work, every time I try to start a business and it doesn't work, every time I try to sell something to a client and it doesn't work, every mistake I have to learn from it, because if I learn from that mistake, I'm not behind in life. I'm actually failing forward. Every time I try something and it doesn't work, I learn and I move forward in life closer to my goal. But to end the paramotor story, I was fine. I called the police because I heard sirens. The firefighters were coming. I called the police and I told them that I'm fine, I'm not dead. They still wanted to come. They still came and helped me get down, even though I didn't really need their help. So they came and helped me get down with all the ladders, starting up generators, marking tape, and stuff like that. And I had to come back the next day with my own ladders and my own ropes to get the paramotor down, the engine, and to untangle the whole wing with a bunch of lines that was tangled up. But that book, Failing Forward, that principle is what I live by right now. Doesn't matter what I do. If I gave it my best shot and it didn't work, I didn't have. You can't blame yourself. You can't blame other people. Because when you do your best and something doesn't work, you did your best. Other people are not even trying. Other people are not even doing. Other people are not willing to risk to try something, but you did. So don't blame yourself. Learn from your mistakes and fail forward in life.